Interesting in history on this day, and I love music, being known as the tone arm, of course, just ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. I know some people who have seen me say, Wade, you're still that tall. Anyhow, ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I got exposed to a lot of different types of music, and that's why I appreciate so many different types of music. My musical tastes are very eclectic, but anyhow, the reason I mentioned that, it was on this day in 1965 that singer Bob Dylan was booed off the stage at Forest Hill Stadium in New York. He was booed off the stage. Why was he booed off the stage? For playing an electric guitar. He played an electric guitar. Why did he play an electric guitar? Who knows? But he was booed off the stage. Interesting, on this day in 1965. Can you imagine? All the folkies were like, what is he doing? He's playing an electric guitar? And they booed him, actually, off the stage. Bob Dylan, the most prolific songwriter in musical history, right up there, I guess, with Paul McCartney and John Lennon, and people like that, maybe Paul Simon or whatever, but definitely right up there. And that happened on this day in 1965 at Forest Hill Stadium in New York. Now, I happened to befriend someone who was very close to Bob Dylan back then. He was actually the drummer for Bob and was on that tour when they got booed off the stage. And I believe I have him on the phone line right now from California. This would be musician and actor Mickey Jones. Hello, Mickey.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. Always great to hear your voice.
Well, right back at you, man. We go back a long way, and it's kind of fun when I get a call from time to time to come and do something with you. And so this is pretty cool to me. And you're right. It's a pretty historic day for Bob.
Yes, well, you were part of that because you were on the tour, and I can't imagine how someone as big as Bob Dylan would actually get booed off the stage. But what was the main issue, Mickey? He was playing the electric guitar. The folk people were the folkies just couldn't accept the fact that he was going electric?
You have hit the nail on the head. We left the very first tour of the leg of the world tour in early '66. We ended up in Hawaii. That was the first leg of the tour. And we should have known right from day one that things were not going to be pleasant because we absolutely got booed off the stage just about everywhere we went, and it only perpetuated itself and got worse as the tour went on. By the time we got to England, there were nights that it could have been extremely dangerous to have been on stage with Bob. And it was right. You nailed it exactly right. People who were pure folk music connoisseurs, they wanted to hear Bob and that acoustic guitar and his harmonica doing those classic folk songs. Well, there was nothing wrong with that. And we loved that part about Bob as well. And Bob did come out and do the first half of the concert with his acoustic guitar and his harmonica, and it was absolutely, you could have heard a pin drop in that theater. Mm-hmm. And then to have us walk out with the electric guitars and the amplifiers and the drums, oh my Lord, they did not want to hear drums anywhere, not only in the building, probably in the country. So it was not pleasant, but the reality was, and the bottom line was, we knew we were making great music, and if they didn't get it, it was their problem.
Yeah.
And now I look back, and in 1969, Jan Winter wrote a review in Rolling Stone, a whole story with Bob, and he called the 1966 First Electric World Tour with Bob Dylan the greatest rock and roll tour in history. And you know what? I think that still remains the same today.
Yeah, whenever I bet you are, because just anyone who knows anything about music knows about that tour and the electric tour from Bob Dylan, and you being a big part of that. So obviously, it must be hard to play on stage when people aren't really accepting you in the way you hoped they would.
That a lot of people felt that way, but the reality was, we were a bunch of young guys making what we believed to be great music, And really, what it boiled down to is we did that concert for us. And if they didn't get it, it was their problem. But what we did, we knew was great. So I didn't have any. In fact, as the booing got louder, I had a tendency to play a little louder. So that's the way we combated that. And I don't know if you saw the documentary that Scorsese did called No Direction Home.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great documentary, but I will tell you one thing.
What?
Scorsese got it wrong. It was not Bob who went up and whispered in Robbie's ear to play effing loud, and it was not me. For most of the years of my life, most people thought it was me. Because when the guy in the audience yelled, Judas, Bob got up on the mic and he said, I don't believe you, you're a liar. And then he turned to Robbie, and Scorsese tried to make the words fit the play effing loud. He tried to make those words fit into Bob Dylan's mouth, but he was not successful. And if you go back and look at that footage, that is not Bob Dylan. And I am convinced that the person yelling those words was just off mic on the side of our stage with a British accent, and it was one of our roadies who were sticking up for us in the moment. So there you have the real truth. I love Scorsese, but he got it wrong.
Well, you were there, so we'll take that as truth. And if people want to read stories like this, even more about your fascinating career in music, you have a book out called That Would Be Me by Mickey Jones. And how can people go online to get information about that book, Mick?
Well, you made my day, Wade, by mentioning my book. I am so proud of that book. In fact, I was doing email this morning, and I got 2 emails from 2 different people who have said, I read your book last night, I finished it all in one night, and now I'm reading it again. I can't put it down. So when I get emails like that, it does my heart well. And the easiest thing is to go to my website, which is mickeyjones.com, MICKEYJONES, and there you can see the book. You can click either above or below the book, and it will take you to my publisher, where you can read an excerpt, you can read about the book, about the author. I find it funny that here I am,
an author. I know. When I first found out you wrote a book, that's the first thing I thought too.
I can't believe this guy's an author.
Yeah, but I
am an author,
and I've read the book, Mickey, and you
made my day.
I love the stories. I love that. I'm a behind the scenes person. I love the behind the scenes stories of people like yourself who were there, like for the tour that Bob Dylan got booted off. Your time with Kenny Rogers and the First Edition, and all the great hits that you guys were part of. Your time with Trini Lopez, your time with Johnny Rivers. I mean, you were the drummer back in that era. And I mean, that's just your musical career. I mean, you went into movies. People, when they get the book or go online, they'll see your face and go, "Oh yeah, I've seen him in 1,000 movies." And television audiences will know you from Pete, the guy from Home Improvement, Pete.
The construction worker,
and and you guys, and you even did an episode of Home Improvement where you played the drums on these made up cans and stuff.
Exactly. A lot of people, that was such a surprise when the producers came and said, "Do you guys know anything about music?" I said, "Well, I know a little bit." And so they wanted to know if we could possibly make music using tools for instruments. Like I did a set of drums made out of gas cans and trash cans and saw blades for cymbals. And so we put the thing together, and one of the producers came over to the rehearsal hall one afternoon, and he said, "Well, are you able to make any kind of music?" So I said, "Well, here's what we got." I kicked it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, pow, pow, pow. We started playing, and the producer looked at me, and he's playing these trash cans for drums. He said, "Man, how did you know how to do that?" I said, "Well, I was a drummer my whole life." And the guy looked at me, and he said, "Cool." So We freaked a lot of people out when we came on playing those trash cans and gas cans and making music with Tool.
How much of that was scripted? It looked like it was pretty much a lot of ad-lib during that particular segment when you guys were jamming on those tools.
You know, that's the coolest thing. Now, actually, absolutely, we did kind of make the music up. But what was interesting was none of the dialogue on that show was ever ad-libbed, because we got to remember we have 5 cameras, and if somebody throws in an extra line that's not part of the script, then the cameramen are lost. Well, we don't know where to go from here.
Yeah.
So everything had to be scripted, and you know what? I truly miss those 8 years that we did with Home Improvement. I would go to work, come home at the end of the day, and my side would be killing me strictly from laughing all day long. And wait, other than you, how many people do you know get to go to work and laugh all day?
You know what? I love my job, and I know what it's like, Mickey. And
you got it.
We're out of time. Always a pleasure to talk with you. We got to talk. I want you to say this because I think people who now are making the connection, who you are, National Lampoon's Vacation. When Chevy Chase and his family broke down in the desert, and there was only one place to get their car fixed. You were the mechanic there, and Chevy Chase. What was his line to you? How much do I owe you, or something?
Yeah, he says, "How much? How much?" I said, "Well, how much you got?" He said, "No. How much is the bill?" And I said, "And I'm asking how much you got." And he said, "I don't get it." I said, I slammed that wrench into my hand. I said, "All of it, boy."
That's a famous one.
So he gives me all his money, and as he's walking away, he says, "Well, I'd like to know what your sheriff thinks about these business practices." I pull my wallet out. I am the sheriff. That was a memorable moment, and people to this day, I will see people in an airport, and they'll ask me to say that line. And I'll say, "What line?" They go, "All of it, boy."
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's fun dealing with the public, and it's always such a pleasure to come and do something with you. If I get back up to Edmonton, I'm going to come and see you, brother.
I look forward to it, and we'll tell people to go to mickeyjones.com, check out the book. That would be me. Mickey, thanks for joining us today.
And that's where I do my email, so drop me a note.
All right, thanks, Mickey.
God bless you. Goodbye, Canada.
There's actor, musician Mickey Jones talking about this historic tour that kicked off in 1965. Folk singer Bob Dylan booed off the stage at the Forest Hill Stadium in New York for playing an electric guitar, and that guy you just heard there was the drummer.